What makes a house a home? Over the next 8 weeks, 21 homes bursting with style and character will compete to be crowned Home of the Year. Tonight, the judges will visit 3 very different homes, scoring each of them out of 10. The home with the highest score will go through to the final at the end of the series. Looking for functionality, individuality and clever design are design legend Hugh Wallace.
Individuality is important because that creates the unique home.
Yes!
Interior designer Deirdre Whelan.
I just want my breath to be taken away when I go into somebody's home.
And architect Declan O'Donnell.
I really want to see creativity because that could be the difference between a house and a home. It's a hoot.
But there can only be one winner. This is Home of the Year. Architect Elaine Bowe lives with her husband Ken and their 2 children in the contemporary home she designed for them in County Clare.
I suppose it all started with Ken's dad discovered the site.
Dad was out for a drive, he spotted the site and he thought of us straight away. And I came down to meet him, had a look, and I says, if Elaine likes it, I'm happy, you know.
I'm an architect, Ken's an electrician, so we were going to always build this house ourselves. That's why it took a little bit longer than your standard build. Felt like we'd never get in, and now it feels like we've always been here. The shape of the house is set up in 2 separate blocks. So we have a living and a kitchen block, which is your kind of open plan, double height space. And then we have a separate block, which is a bedroom block. I think every room in our house is used. We don't have any rooms that you can't engage with. Originally, when the house was designed, it was more a house. And I feel, I suppose now with the children, it's probably become more of a home.
We brought Oren home the first time 3 years ago now, and Kate since. Joe, when you walk in the door in the evening, and they come to meet you like, you know what, it makes it like.
I've chosen this as our favourite spot. It's a great place to sit and relax, and you can look out through the big glass sliding doors at the garden outside. We did it ourselves. I mean, we can't but be proud, really. You know, it's definitely, there's a sense of achievement. I mean, it was 2 years hard work.
The judges must now assess the home, armed with only the basic facts about the property and its owners.
This is obviously a new build. It's got a really interesting shape in the roof with the angle. I think that's all about the sunlight, how it's going to come around the house. So I think they've got the orientation right here.
That natural timber is very warm against that dark grey framing.
Yeah, it seems to sit really well in the landscape, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's go in.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't this nice? Really welcoming.
Yeah, I love that they've just used loads and loads of glass here, so it's filled with natural light. Bit of an idea, actually, of how the building has been designed now. We saw those 2 forms from the outside, and this is obviously a little glazed link that kind of interconnects them. It's very nicely detailed as well. The materials that they've used, the windows, how everything kind of connects. It's very, very sharp. I'm impressed.
I think the terrazzo flooring is just divine. And then that beautiful piece of furniture with the nice little objects, it just says, welcome to my home, and I'm revealing something about myself here.
I think the introduction of the wall that we saw outside, inside, great piece of design. Shall we go on?
Yeah. Oh, what a gorgeous kitchen, dining area, fabulous.
Great big sliding doors out onto the terrace there, so great spot for breakfast.
I like the positioning of the kitchen. It's right beside the front door, and I think there's a real warmth in here.
I think what's great is this huge big island unit and the fact that it's the same material as the floor. So you have this very solid concrete. So it gives a real sense of solidity within the room and somewhere to hide their wine.
A nice mix of seating, the 2 gorgeous little high chairs. You get a real sense of family and home about this kitchen.
It's quite architectural in the style and the materials that they've used, but they've loads of bits and bobs up as well, and photos and loads of personal things. And they're obviously always on time because they have a huge clock above the dining room table.
My only observation is I'd like to have seen the laminate doors in a high gloss putty colour as it would have lightened the kitchen.
I don't have an issue with the timber finish. I think it brings a lot of warmth into the room, actually.
What did it for me in the kitchen was the selection of materials and the really good finishes.
Isn't that great?
Oh, my.
Now we can see that mono-pitch roof in here. The roof goes up in one plane and allows you to have that angular window right up in the corner. So all that light is coming into this room. overall, there's just a lovely sense of volume and airiness.
Yeah, I think the timber on the ceiling is very, very effective. It pulls everything down, gives it all that warmth. And just this chimney breast is great because you can access both sides of it, which I think is really effective. Very, very comfortable in here.
Yeah, because sometimes you come into a double height space and it can be quite difficult to make it really cozy, but they certainly have achieved it here. Lots of personality here.
Here's their favorite spot. I'm gonna give it a whirl. Yeah, it's very comfortable. Everything is at the right kind of eye level. The fireplace, great views out into the countryside as well. Very, very nice.
The sliding door moves back, the kids play outside. It's really about all the family being in the one space.
Yeah, and they can all sit on this great couch. Love the colour.
Yes.
This is a really nice little mezzanine level. I love the fact that we're up in the apex of the roof. Great big picture window there. Look at the angle. It's just treetops as far as you can see. Very, very clever to actually wedge this in up here.
It's really dramatic, isn't it, when you look back down? It must be very nice to work up here.
I just love that light fitting and the copper against the timber.
Goodness. That's a nice positioning of the bed, isn't it, looking out into the garden?
Yeah, it's a great bedroom. That dark colour on the ceiling is the first thing that hits me. Really, really effective. It makes it feel very different. Lots of interesting kind of shapes going on.
They've got this lovely design here behind of an applied vinyl that brings lots of colour to the room.
Very architectural. This is a great piece of furniture, isn't it? Because it acts as the back of the bed, and then on this side I have the makeup area, so it's very functional.
This home is a great example of how to get a layout absolutely spot on. There's only 3 pieces to it. The living quarters, the central hallway, and then the long wing that has the bedrooms and private areas. And that's why this whole house works.
The home will now be marked out of 10. 1 score will be held back until the judges have seen all 3 homes, when their combined scores will be revealed.
I loved the selection of furniture, colours, textures, and all those personal objects everywhere. This is a great home. I'm going to give it a 9.
The shape and form of the roof shows me a considered approach in the architecture, and I love the fact that this was brought through to the inside. This, combined with a simple and honest use of materials, creates a contemporary yet very relaxed family home. I give this home a 9.
The owners have created a spacious, warm and stylish home through their understanding of architectural form, the contrast of the high and low ceilings, along with their personal touches. This is a comfortable, functioning and fun home.
In 2013, Pat O'Kelly bought a small 1920s cottage in South County Dublin and transformed it into a dream home.
I wanted to keep the integrity of the cottage because it was just lovely. I added the extension and moved the front door to the side. You come in, it still seems like you're coming into the cottage, and suddenly you're in this incredible space. And it feels free. You don't feel restrained or constrained. This is a house for living. I think my style is no style, but that it works. I feel it does work. I've always been interested in china and pottery. I can paint for hours in the evening by myself, happy as Larry. This is my favourite spot. This is where I can sit and chat with my friends. I'm surrounded by all the things that I like, and this is where I feel really comfortable. The house feels special to me because it doesn't restrict my lifestyle. It allows me to do whatever I feel like doing. So if I want a group of friends around, if we all want to watch a film, fantastic. If we want to dance in this area, we do, it's great. This house just is the forever house. I'm here, and I love it.
But a lovely, simple and strong piece of modern architecture in this extension, and you can see the original cottage.
I love the brick, and in particular the window detail and the timber, which is very nice.
Yeah, and there's a gorgeous little terrace on the side, lots of nice planting, lots of colour.
And a woolly sheep.
And a woolly sheep.
Goodness. Isn't that just great? The luxury of all this space, a real sense of arrival in this home.
Yeah, it's into an open plan kitchen and dining. I love that they've carried a brick from the outside through to the inside in a really big way, so you know, it's a huge feature when you come in.
I mean, isn't this just a gorgeous little corner? A lovely assembly of plates on the two sides of the wall.
Yeah, the shape of the window's great as well, really tall, kind of elongates the space all the way up to the ceiling. But I'm fascinated by these nibs that they've created, and it's how they've filled those nooks and crannies that really makes it.
You've got a very simple architectural backdrop, and it's the layer that they've added here that just oozes with their personality.
This is just lovely, isn't it? The little bay window with a gorgeous connection to the garden outside. All those colours are coming in here. I mean, it's a really lovely spot to sit.
Yeah, I love window seats because it means that space has now become usable. And here, you know, you have the glass-to-glass corner, beautiful timber frames again.
Yeah, you're correct, Declan. They create little areas for stories, and you have a lovely little story here. And I just love the idea of that bookcase, because it's like the books are mauled, read and used and stuffed back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too precious. I don't think they're in alphabetical order.
And their favourite spot, beautiful big table. You can imagine the fun that goes on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love the eclectic mix that's going on. You can see it in the lights as well. And I think this adjusts.
Isn't that great?
Lovely.
Look at that.
I love that.
Into the kitchen. Actually very nice peaked shape in the roofs. You've got that nice bit of height. Great big roof light. Very relaxed again.
And it's a very functional kitchen, the way it's laid out. And isn't it lovely that they've kept the island unit completely bare?
What's fascinating is it's all bits and pieces and lots of things going on here, but there isn't a sense of clutter about it. Everything's been thought about. It's a collection over a lifetime. Lovely to be in.
Yes.
Nice ribbed glass doors into a
Look at
little
this.
living room.
Yay.
Very cute, actually, isn't it? Really compact. Obviously in the old part of the cottage now. Totally different feel in here.
Yeah, and you just got great furniture in here. This is a proper living room. The chairs, lovely big couches, and you've got great texture and colour.
What's really nice about this room is that they have no ceiling lights at all, and all the lighting is coming from the floor lamps and the table lamps, so it creates a lovely atmosphere here at night.
Yeah, it's very traditional in here in terms of the style. I think that worked in the rest of the house because you have strong contemporary architecture there in the windows and the brick. I actually would have liked to have seen that mix of old and new really carried through into here.
Oh, I don't agree, Declan. I think it is very contemporary. I think it's consistent with the rest of the house. What's Declan talking about? White box with a big window. Sure, isn't that always what he's looking for?
Straight out from the living room, and you can actually see the original shape of this little cottage. That was probably the front door. And you know, they've really dramatically changed, you know, the layout of this house. Moving the door around to the side is a very clever move. It means you actually land in right into the heart of the home. So in terms of function, it's perfect.
The master bedroom. What I adore is the fact that the personality of the owner is here, and it's in the pieces of artwork on the walls and the plates. I love that little quirky piece of furniture, and the fact you got this lovely hand embroidery on the duvet cover.
We're still in the old part of the cottage, so it still feels cozy with the head height. And actually this mirror is very effective because it's quite a small room.
Yeah.
That makes it feel so much bigger.
When a style is informal, it usually means it's very relaxed and very comfortable, and it certainly was in here.
This home is definitely the place for dinner, conviviality and fun. I loved the juxtaposition of the simple interior against that amazing collection to create an inspirational home. I'm giving it a 9.
What a fabulous home, full of personality. There was real character here in the homeowner's style and how they displayed their personal items. I am going to give this home an 8.
I love the use of those extended walls and how they formed shapes and zones on the inside. The use of brick and timber combined with the quaint charm of the old cottage gave this home a sharpness and a warmth at the same time.
Landscape architect Esther Gerrard and her husband, designer Ed Coveney, live with their 3 children in the Georgian building they have restored in Dublin City.
We bought the house with my brother in 2013. It used to be an 18-bedroom B&B. We've converted it into 3 apartments, and we live in the duplex apartment, which is the bottom 2 floors. It took a year to get planning permission and then a year to build, and then we had twins. So we moved in a week before they were born. You know, it's been a journey, and we've enjoyed it. What we really wanted to do was get to the bare bones of what the building was originally like, and then add in kind of sensitive parts so we could have our home.
We think the house goes back as far as 1820, and hopefully we've saved it and we've made the correct choices by restoring it a certain kind of aesthetic.
We make furniture as a stonemason and designer. We did a lot of the modern elements, bathrooms, the kitchens, the floors. We do have some old furniture, but we've made a lot of modern furniture. Everything's done by hand.
And also we made quite a lot of choices regarding how the walls are going to be treated. It looks kind of like we just pulled the wallpaper off, but there's so much more work than that. There was a lot of detailing to really get it back to where it is now.
We really wanted to have a modern living in the Georgian building. Downstairs, even though it's a basement, it's really bright and spacious. This is my favourite spot in the house. It's kind of fun. We clad the walls in pink marble. It's a bit different and I love it.
It was quite an ambitious project for us personally. Now it's becoming a home.
We really love it. It's brilliant. It gets
amazing.
better all the time.
How fantastic to see a late Georgian house restored, and it looks like it's been divided into a number of apartments.
Number 1.
Shall we go? Wow, this is quite amazing. The fact that the walls have been left stripped back, and that beautiful table.
You know, a period building like this, there's so much character. You can't replicate it. The proportion, the feeling that you get. I mean, look at that window that they've restored. It is colossal.
The cornicing is fabulous, and I just love the simplicity of this room. My only observation is I'd like to move the fridge to the other side because it's the first thing I see when I come into this room.
I totally disagree. It's a nice modern appliance, stainless steel, very sharp. It's in the kitchen. Kitchens have fridges, so not a problem for me.
What I really love is the combination of the old and the new, and particularly this beautiful minimal kitchen. You've got that marble top, the very simple door details, the top and the bottom. One complements the other really, really well.
If you look at this marble, it's been chosen, selected and cut for this kitchen, and it's like a bookend, so it folds out. Quite extraordinary.
They haven't kind of fought the proportions of the room and tried to squeeze something in that wouldn't work. Like in terms of style, this is right up there.
I love the authenticity of this window. Lovely glass, which has a slightly mottled effect. Great to see this in a restoration.
If you look at the shutter boxes as well, who needs curtains when you've got that? It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
And isn't it lovely to see a play corner right beside it? And they've used sheepskin rugs for comfort. You've got your toy box, gorgeous little light. Fantastic in this room.
This home is the perfect example of apartment living, an old Georgian building, subdividing it and making it a fantastic family home. They do it everywhere in Europe, and we really should be doing more of it here in Ireland.
Oh, yes. This is nice, isn't it?
Another beautifully restored window. When the doors open, you've got views both ways. It's very nice.
It's the walls that are actually bringing the texture into the room rather than that is coming from the furniture and the accessories.
Absolutely, Deirdre. And what's lovely, it's this yellows and sort of original washed out reds, and it gives a lovely warmth to this room.
I love the fact that there's such a mix of furniture. I mean, that sofa is just fantastic, isn't it?
Lovely deep blue royal velvet. And then in contrast, you've got this lovely yellow. Great pop of colour in this room.
And what you're seeing is they've really listened to the building. They've chosen what to restore, what to expose. And then they've thought about, you know, everything that they're going to throw in, little nuggets of their own personality, which is very, very nice.
Having nice things isn't necessarily enough. It's how you put them together. There's a real skill in that, and the owners really have it.
I love the original light fitting.
It's very sculptural, as is the staircase, and I think it's been done really well, and it's all about this half wall. It tucks it away into the corner and also conceals it from the room. The living room in this apartment would never originally have a staircase in it, so the owners, if they wanted to connect the two levels, they had to put one in. And I think they really thought about that because it was subtle and it was in the right spot. Oh. We're in the basement level here, the lower level in the apartment. Kind of thought it was going to be a bit darker than it is, but you have a great big window, loads of natural light.
That respectful restoration we've seen in the rest of this apartment has been brought down here. You have that lovely original beam behind you, and then just elements of muted colours.
I love this composition here. And then that graphic detail is just to define the bed space, but it's very effective. The crisp white linen with the lovely texture in it, and then the grace, it's really well on top. Same kind of detailing that we've seen upstairs. Oh, look at this. Wow. Gosh, I wasn't expecting this. Amazing pinky marble cladding all the way around, and their favourite spot in here. This is the sanctuary where you can just be on your own.
The reason it works is you just have such simple detailing. Beautiful polished concrete floor with white ceiling, and then this amazing marble.
If you're going to go for it in a bathroom.
Absolutely. I mean, talk about brave. Fantastic, isn't it?
The reinvention of the lower levels of this period Georgian home into a spacious apartment is a breath of fresh air. The kitchen is modern, yet sits comfortably in the room. The staircase is subtle, yet filled with character. And the layout gives open, generous rooms all filled with natural light. And they brought a personal flair to complement the natural fabric of this building. I give this home a 9.
You have to applaud the owners here. Their love and attention to design detail is everywhere. In that beautiful marble pink bathroom, bespoke furniture, and contemporary finishes. I'm giving this home an 8.
A keen eye for design and consistency in this apartment is what makes this a very special, functioning home.
Now that the judges have visited all 3 homes, it's time to see how they measure up against each other. First, Hugh reveals what he gave the contemporary home in Clare.
What I was looking for was to see that monopitch roof on the inside of this house, and I wasn't disappointed. I thought this was a great contemporary home, and I gave it an 8.
Good score.
That's 2 9s and an 8, 26.
A very strong start.
Next, Declan reveals his score for the extended cottage.
When I first saw this house, I was actually struck by the really contemporary, slick architecture of the elevation, the windows, the brick. All that was carried through to the inside as well. Tons of really lovely architectural detail, very warm and comfortable too. I give it an 8.
I'm delighted this home impressed you, Declan.
That's a 9 and 2 8s, 25.
High score, but we do have a leader.
And finally, Deirdre tells us her score for the Georgian apartment.
I was delighted that this turned out to be an apartment in a Georgian building. It's something that we should see more of. I thought this was a magnificent home, and I gave it a 10.
I knew you were going to give it full marks, Deirdre. That's a 10, a 9 and an 8, 27, and we have a winner.
So our Georgian apartment in Dublin is the first home through to the final.
I know I shouldn't be gushing, but I'm so delighted that this home made it through, and they made something really special.
Well, I'm delighted to see such an amazing restoration in the final.
Everything we're looking for in this competition, and I'm thrilled.
Next week, the search continues for Home of the Year.